In a faraway land, nestled between towering mountains and lush forests, there was a village known as Eldermere. It was a place where magic thrived, where spells were cast as easily as a wave of the hand, and where every wizard had their unique powers. But in this village, there was one wizard who didn't quite fit the mold. His name was Cedric. Cedric had always dreamed of becoming a great wizard. From the time he was a little boy, he'd watched in awe as the older wizards performed their incredible feats, turning objects into gold, conjuring firestorms, and even summoning creatures from other worlds. Cedric wanted nothing more than to be just like them. But there was a small problem. Cedric was, well, a little clumsy. His spells often went astray, and his magic didn't work the way he wanted it to. For example, once, he tried to turn a stone into a rabbit. Instead, he turned it into a pancake. Yes, a pancake. Not exactly what you'd expect from a wizard, right? And that wasn't the only mishap. Cedric once tried to conjure a broom to sweep his house, but the broom grew to an enormous size and started sweeping the entire village. It knocked over carts, chased chickens, and even tried to sweep the mayor's hat off his head. Despite his constant failures, Cedric didn't give up. He believed that if he just practiced enough, one day, he would be able to perform magic as well as the other wizards. But there was something about Cedric that no one could deny. He had heart. He never let his mistakes hold him back, and he always tried again. One day, something happened that would change Cedric's life forever. A loud, booming voice echoed through the village, startling everyone. "Villagers of Eldermere, a terrible threat is coming. The great Dark Sorcerer and his shadow army are on their way. Only the greatest wizard can defeat them." The villagers froze in fear. The Dark Sorcerer was a name that struck terror into the hearts of everyone. He was known for his powerful dark magic, and no one dared to face him. But then, Cedric stepped forward. He may not have been the greatest wizard, but he was ready to try. With a determined look on his face, Cedric raised his hand and declared, "I will defeat the Dark Sorcerer." The villagers gasped. After all, it was hard to imagine the clumsy wizard, who couldn't even make a broom sweep properly, standing up to such a powerful foe. But Cedric didn't let their doubts stop him. He picked up his wand, took a deep breath, and began his journey to the Dark Sorcerer's lair. Along the way, he stumbled over rocks, tripped on tree roots, and even got stuck in a thorn bush. But no matter how many times he fell, he got back up and kept moving forward. After a long and rather clumsy journey, Cedric finally reached the Dark Sorcerer's fortress. The sky was dark, and the air was thick with an eerie silence. Cedric took one last deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest, and he stepped inside. The Dark Sorcerer stood waiting inside. His cloak billowed around him, his eyes glowing with malice. Cedric stood tall, trying to look brave, though his knees were shaking. "Dark Sorcerer," in a sinister voice. "So, the little wizard thinks he can stop me? How amusing." But Cedric wasn't deterred. He raised his wand and shouted, "I may not be the greatest wizard, but I will protect my village." With that, he tried to cast a spell. But instead of a powerful burst of magic, a tiny spark shot from his wand and turned the sorcerer's cloak into spaghetti. Yes, you heard that right. Spaghetti. The Dark Sorcerer stared in confusion as his dark, intimidating cloak turned into a pile of noodles. For a moment, there was complete silence. Dark Sorcerer, stammering, "What? What is this? Why am I covered in spaghetti?" Cedric, ever the optimist, simply grinned and said, "Well, even the darkest sorcerer needs to eat sometimes." But just as the sorcerer opened his mouth to respond, Cedric tripped over a nearby cauldron and spilled a magical potion all over the sorcerer's shoes. The potion began to dissolve the sorcerer's dark magic, and with a final shriek, the dark sorcerer's power faded away into nothingness. He vanished, leaving behind only a pair of very ordinary shoes and a pile of spaghetti. The villagers couldn't believe their eyes. Cedric had done it, not with powerful magic, not with perfect spells, but with his heart, his courage, and his clumsy, imperfect way of doing things. He had saved the village from the Dark Sorcerer, and so Cedric, the clumsy wizard, became a hero, not because of his magical abilities, but because he had the courage to try, to keep going, even when everything seemed to go wrong. He showed everyone that sometimes it's the imperfections that make us truly great. So remember, my friends, you don't need to be perfect to do something extraordinary. Embrace your flaws, your mistakes, and your quirks. They might just lead you to greatness. If you enjoyed Cedric's magical, clumsy adventure, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might need a reminder that imperfection is what makes us unique. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for more heartwarming stories and lessons that will inspire you every day.